Hello again, good morning. Today we will go through the 52nd day to day 52 of my game development project. This Energy Hero. And here we are, and today I have interesting tasks with regards to the tasks in the last days. Today the main thing I wanted to do be sure that I need in my game I have my save files. In these save files I generate a file and a script over here as save manager, which is an asset that I bought from easy save. However, my usage for this asset may be not the best case, not the best usage in here, but in the end I used this as it was, and which in the save manager, the save manager goes and looks for this save files, which is basically a JSON file. From my save, when I save a game, when I save a particular time inside my game, it generates a save file is in here, and when I'm loading the game, when I want the game, for example, load the chapter 3, this save manager goes to the chapter 3 file, chapter 3 JSON file, and retrieve the last saved values from that section, from that chapter. That's why this is the thing I also needed to implement in the final build, and till now I'm not really sure. Till now I haven't been tested this thing yet, and which is a great risk for me. But right now I'm eager to. But today I'm eager to test this one and to see if that it's working or not. Because if that script will not work in the final build, it will just kill my project in the end. So the first thing I need to be doing is to updating save files for all chapters and try to use them inside the final build. So let's start today by updating the save files. Actually, I just needed to update the chapter 1, chapter 2 and chapter 3 save files, and I can get rid of this one. And chapter 4 is file does not changed because from yesterday and today, from the last time I record this video, I did not make any changes inside my script inside the scene. That's why I can keep this chapter 4 file as a reference, but I needed to update this chapter 3, chapter 2 and chapter 1 slow. So let's start with updating the chapter 1. Okay, I had made my roadmap for generating these chapter files. I needed to play through my game and finish it in every chapter, in chapter positive section, and when I get into the correct part inside my game, I just save this file and update this chapter 1 and chapter 2 files. And this will be my chapter 1 file. Okay, I also needed to resolve this bug in the final build. It's the in chapter 1 an object grabbed and moved and move button is pressed. Dialog box is dialog box disables. No, not disables, but fade out. Also, in chapter 1, boxes will be replaced by objects. Visualizing teeth. Now, let's generate our second save file in here. Chapter 2. Also, chapter 2 buttons should be updated. Chapter 2 buttons should be updated. Because this red button or something like this is not acceptable inside the final build. Yellow, digest it. Also, time of the dialog box retain time on the screen should be lengthened. Great job. And the welcome box. Why the welcome box looks like welcome balloon looks like this. Welcome to game text balloon width value should be updated. It should be around 700 or something like that, or something closer to that value, because currently the width is not in good value. So let's start the chapter 3 and generate a save file for chapter 3. Oh, also chapter 3 nutrient and waste count will be increased. This also needed to be taken care of, and that's all. My save files are generated. Let's try this one. When I open up this game and when I try to, let's say load chapter 2, it loads my chapter 2 and the talking begin, and yes, I can digest the proteins or amylase or whatever this was. Let's try chapter 3. Yes, chapter 3 is loading. So I wanted to generate a final build right now, and I will take care of the rest of the matters after that, because I really wanted to see that. I really needed to see that if this is working or not. We debug. I had a script name we debug in here. You may have seen it over there, and this is just only buttons which is responsible for calling these files, calling these methods. So when I press the save manager and when I load the save file, I just wanted to call this save file from this button list to check if the save files are working or not inside the final build. Get last save file. Okay, how about our save and this is the path. Okay, what I did in here is that actually this WebGL game has this JSON file. It's all over. It has this language JSON file inside its final build, and with this final build, this language JSON file is located inside this streaming assets under this streaming assets section. And what I have in mind is to copy my save files under these streaming assets as chapter 1, chapter 2, and chapter 3, and chapter 4. And I just copied these 2 lines from the APK file inside this project, and I hope this will work. This trick will work. In order to load the save files from the streaming assets into the game in the final build, let's just copy my save files. Also, this does not have any usage in here, so I remove them, and here are my save files. And okay, going Explorer. Okay, it should populate right now. Yes, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and chapter 4. Save it, and try it. Streaming assets, chapter 3.json.json will not be found. Streaming assets slash. How about now? Try it one more time. To load from file. Oh. Okay, I needed to bypass this line for the future. To load from file. To load from file in streaming assets. String directory as inputs, and this is not a good thing to do because I just copied all of the lines and just creates a weird thing right now, but this is a fast solution, so I choose this one. Chapter 2, chapter 3, and make it chapter 4. Base file path. Okay, this is directory. Okay, something seems wrong. Combine the tree could not be found. Assets, streaming assets, chapter 2. Streaming assets, chapter 1. Here. Chapter 2 is here, chapter 3 and chapter 4 not.json is here, is already here. Assets, streaming assets. Chapter 3.json should be there. 2.json. Chapter 2, chapter 3 and chapter 4. It seems working. And let's try this inside the file build. And 5th of I got built dated back to July, and right now we are in September. So that's why I want to finish this project as soon as possible, because July this is a long time. With a project like this should be finished, should be finalized around 20 or at maximum 30 days. However, in this while working on this project, I have faced with some difficulties, and I do not manage to spend enough time in order to keep this project up and running and keep developing this project. I had lots of distractions during that phase, and in the period, these distractions are kept me from my game. That's why right now I removed many of those distractions, and I just wanted to make this happen, and I wanted to finalize this one. Maybe just upload the first version for the checking from the portal site, but after, I guess, 1 or 2 updates and revisions, I may be able to publish this thing into the portal. Game development is really a good thing to keep your mind up, and it's really satisfying, because at the end of each game you have a thing like your kid, or you have a baby, and also thinking logically and thinking out of the box is really a satisfying journey, especially when I start this game development journey. I do not. I'm having I had a hobby as Python programming, because since I'm not originally a game developer, or I'm not originally a software developer, a hobby as programming was really an interesting aspect in my life. Before the COVID, I guess, when I work in my previous job, I started to learn. Okay, here we have, and this is 35 megabytes. This is more than. I needed to shrink it down less than 30 megabytes in near future. How about this guy? This is also 45 megabyte and 26 megabyte. I needed to shrink this guy down, but before that I needed to check that if it's working or not. Select folder and start access and run this game as server. With the help of this simple tool service, it's really good thing. It's a must-have thing to keep in your toolkit if you try to develop a online game. But why it's not started? Yes, localhost.
Welcome to Treasure.
Oh, okay. No, this was not my project. This was the project before. That was my previous project. So energy row build date today. Why it's not working? Okay, something seems wrong. Player settings, energy row. What? Energy row, yes. Okay, does game crashes? Game activity. Okay, why the game does not run? Why? Why? Let's open the device. Main menu. There are my scene lists. These are my scenes. Let's build with stack trace enabled. Okay, I do not understand why the game does not start working. Because inside the hierarchy, inside the Unity editor, it looks like it's working without any problem, without any issues. And this waiting just kills me. I really do not like this waiting process. And when you go to till the end of the project, end of your project, this waiting starts to happen because in order to release a good project, you need to have a final build, a good build of your project without any bug and without any issues, as you can see below before, and you needed to track down what may be the issues for the final build, etc., and which results in generating lots of build files. For example, one of in my previous project, I had nearly 50 build files in order to solve some bugs and in order to get a stable final build as a stable final build, and which results in a lot of wait time, as you can see in here. And right now I cannot do anything. I just needed to wait for the build to happen, and after that I will try to launch the game again with this simple tool. Yes, finally. Okay, why? Second phase, third phase. Okay, something is wrong with this game. I do not understand what this is, but something is missing. Operator. Stop. Just disable this one. Also, not only keep the app. 0 level load started. Wait for data. Okay, how about generate and remove this guys and only keep the app. Also this part should be removed in final build, but let's just build okay, this was one faster than I thought. So let's go over this guy and try again. But why don't you start the game? Null reference exception. Okay, this is better. Null reference exception of new location, camera state, chapter state, not commas. That's chapter state machine. Chapter state machine. Change chapter state. Change camera state. State. Get component, get character component. Current chapter. Not change camera state. Change camera state. Okay, I guess this issue may be related to this awake or start functions, because when the chapter state machine starts to work, the camera state does not already awakened or does not already generated. That's why it's giving me a null reference error. So I need to investigate this guy, this one. Subject of type manager. How about not referencing guy? Oh, maybe this is related to this editor only. Tag in here. Oh, my bad. I forgot this editor only. Tags over there. Okay, I still have a null reference exception. Change weapon on enable. Is this the correct file? Trace enabled. Change editor only remote. Let's try this one. Start game, load the game, and yeah, finally
Hey there, brave energy hero.
I
Welcome
managed
to the
to
game.
load
Are
this
you ready
game
to learn about the amazing world digestion?
at last. After 4 builds or 5 builds, I managed to have a working build which has problems. How about
Hello,
load chapter
courageous
2?
hero. All living
Load chapter
organisms,
3, load
including
chapter
us,
4.
need
No,
energy
they
to
are not
survive,
working.
grow, and reproduce.
They are not working. Why aren't you working? And do you generate me any problem? File not found. Streaming assets chapter could not be found. Oh man, I have a big problem in here. I have really big problem in here. Because it looks like the files are not there. File localhost streaming assets chapter 2 JSON could not be found. However, this game loads the language file. So it looks like I'm missing something, or it looks like I'm doing something wrong. So anyway, that's all for today. And I wanted to update my to-do list. And here at least I managed to get a working build, and at least I managed to see some things working inside the browser. So let's go to this string assets. Yes, the language file is already here, but it looks like the game does not manage to retrieve these files, and I needed to check this tomorrow, because today I do not have any much time left in order to go to working. So going to working and update save files for all the chapters and try to use them inside final build. Yes, I cannot remove this thing from the to-do list. And however, I managed to do something. I managed to playtest. Actually, I managed to playtest, and I managed to find out some of the problems that my game has, and I needed to solve these problems as soon as possible. Also, this thing keeping the size below 30 megabytes, and let's just check the final size of the editor remote. 55 megabytes. Oh man, editor only remote. I will have bad time in order to decrease it from 55 megabyte to, by the way, the best way to check is open the editor log, find the build report, and these are the things that I can total user assets. Actually, there isn't much things to be considered, but scripts are 2.5 megabytes. That's interesting. File headers. Oh man. Oh man, this is not good. I'm not really sure how will I manage to shrink down that final build under 30 megabyte, but we will see. So let's say in here, and close the project in here, and I hope to see you tomorrow morning, because today was not a really productive day, and maybe tomorrow morning will be more productive than I hope for this project. So anyway, have a nice day and have a nice week, and hope to see you again.